Well, first of all, I want to start from the position of public commentary on corruption. And I must say that a lot of the public commentary is completely misplaced.
Why do you say so?
Yeah, because when we talk about corruption, we appear to say that it is the reason why we are underdeveloped or the reason why things are not working in our country. It may be a contributing factor, but the commentary which makes it look like corruption is the main problem, I think is a false narration. One, corruption is a global problem, not defined by geography. It is not defined by ethnicity and so on. And even the Western countries that some people admire so much and claim that they have developed and so on, there have been major incidents of corruption. Now, if they are able to make the kind of progress that some people believe they have made, in spite of the existence of corruption, then something else must explain our underdevelopment. You understand? And I think that the factor which is responsible for underdevelopment may include corruption. But the main problem is the system of socio-economic development we have adopted. I mean, you take a country like Britain. Not too long ago, some members of the House of Lords were actually indicted for stealing the British taxpayers' money to buy pornographic materials. I don't think that we've had any such case in Ghana before. You understand? So I want to position this discussion on corruption, properly. Now, the claim that our laws on corruption are defective because both the giver and the taker are equally responsible, under the law, I think is a bit false. You do know that people who are engaged in the commission of crime, if they decide to assist investigations and provide evidence, sometimes they do not become accused persons, but they are prosecution witnesses. I'm sure all of us are familiar with that. So that would suggest that if there's a giver of bribe or a taker of bribe who is willing to assist in investigations and prosecutions and so on, he may win some indemnity by the Attorney General. So that statement is also not completely true. Then there's the issue of values. I mean, Randy, when you live in a capitalist society, where the extraction of value, surplus value, and what comes with it is an indication or provides an indication of your status in society. What do you expect? What do you expect? The capitalist society is for the rich. How much value you are able to extract and keep for yourself, how much surplus value you are able to extract and keep for yourself, determines your status in society. So clearly, if you live in a society like this, the values will be different. We live in a society where we still, place a lot of value on inheritance in everything. People become chiefs, not because they are the wisest people in our society, not because they've made more sacrifices for the development of our society, but simply because of their bloodline. If you have a system like this and this is the value system you have, why do you complain? Why do you complain? I mean, the whole foundation of society is wrong. We need to challenge the very basis of our society. I mean, all of us do know of the principle of the divine rule of kings. I'm sure we all know that quite clearly. So there was a point in history, not too long ago, where actually kings, and if you like, chiefs, were believed to be the representatives of God on earth. Representatives of God on earth, simply by their bloodline. So I think that we need to reorder our society if we think that these values are wrong. New values should only come from the reality of the production relations that we have and the altering of the production relations. That is what will bring new value. Sermonizing, pontificating, and so on does not bring values to society. Values are determined in the cost of production and distribution. You understand? So these are my views.
All right. Okay. Let me hear you.
Well, anyway, good morning to you. Good morning. I haven't been here for a few weeks.
Yes.
Truth of the matter is that I think that the concept itself suggests that he is looking at it from the perspective of, okay, if someone gives out a bribe, then they're not inclined to go and actually report that particular incident because then they're also found culpable. So, I mean, we can debate that. I also feel that, I mean, there's a lot more to this corruption conversation that we normally don't have because of the politics of it and how we want to sensationalize some of the things. I mean, so if you juxtapose what happens in the corporate environment, even when an audit is done, that audit is not done to look for, if you like, things that are not good, but to even find ways of making sure that the processes that the organization has adopted is actually effective. And in our case, what tends to happen is that you read the Auditor General's reports, there's a Public Accounts Committee, and if you take it from even 1992, every single year, it's almost as if that the same things occur. You can close your eyes and you see that the same issues are occurring. And I'm of the view that even when it comes to these things, there's just a certain aspect of administrative, if you like, lapses and inefficiencies that we don't really talk about because I think that the corruption aspect becomes the focus. One of the issues, for example, is the issue to do with procurement, where we have state institutions that are, by dint of its setting up, are there to provide specific services to even the public sector. And for some strange reason, we've collapsed these entities. When I say collapse these entities, nobody gives them any kind of support. We have the Ghana Supply Commission, we have the Ghana National Procurement Authority, we have all of these entities that were supposed to have played significant roles when it comes to supporting other public sector institutions, when it comes to issues to do with procurement, that for one reason or the other, we haven't given the right support and the resources to be able to operate. And so every entity has become almost like a procurement organization. And so you would always have challenges and issues where people probably even at either at the local government level, at the agency level, or at the ministry level, do not have the requisite procurement skills, or even are not up to scratch with what modern procurement practices are. You can put a law together for all you want, but if you don't have personnel within those organizations who will be able to go through a process to ensure that we are actually getting value for money, you will not get that. I'll give you an example. There are certain instances where the entity tender committee and all of these other committees and everything, once they even sit down and they go through the processes, the amount of allowances that goes to these entities is actually more than what they are procuring. So even the bureaucracy of it itself causes challenges. So for me, sometimes some of the issues that we face as a country is not dealt with because we focus too much on the politics of it and not look at it from maybe a development standpoint as to, okay, what are the systems, processes, and things that we can put in place to forestall these challenges? I'm going to wait for a day where even the Auditor General report would come back and say, in last year, we found A, B, C, D in this organization. We felt that there were challenges with these processes. These are the things that we put in place. We've gone back to do an audit to ascertain that these processes are being adhered to, reporting lines are being re-engineered, and we are not finding challenges with these things anymore. But you realize that the focus really goes to, or finding a public officer somewhere who either has misappropriated 30,000 CDs or has gone through a procurement practice that suggests that there's corruption because they have not provided the right receipts and all of those things. And then we spend valuable man hours even using Parliament's limited time and resources to go through these things. So for me, I think that we can do a multi-pronged approach and find solutions to some of these corruption practices. For example, even issues to do with the deployment of technology. Now, if you deploy technology and you put systems and processes in place, then it actually takes out the human factor. And there are clear examples of agencies and organizations that are working. For example, a couple of days ago, I went to the DVLA premium service because I couldn't find my driver's license. Within 45 minutes, I had a brand new license printed out. Now, hitherto, people would go stand around the DVLA office, find a Goro person, and pay actually more than how much I paid, right? And they probably will even come out with a fake license to start with. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to pick and choose what we want in terms of, do we, as a people, want to actually avail ourselves to some of these changes, or we want to maintain the status quo. For example, another example is even this issue to do with passports. And it's almost as if that it's almost okay for the politician to be tagged and seen to be the one that being corrupt. Somebody was on record to have said that he's paid 2,000 CDs to somebody to procure a passport. And then you have a system that says, okay, the 50 CDs and 100 CDs that we are paying now is making the process take a lot more time. It is not efficient, it's not sustainable. The cost of printing and all of these things have gone up. And so let's get to a point where if you pay 500 CDs, 600 CDs, or whatever, you get your passport in a week or two, right? Then we have challenges with that. However, the same people are happy
that the increment in price of passport does not take away all those bottlenecks.
No, I agree. I agree. But what I'm saying is that once you, so the issues to do with the processes, the inconvenience, the bureaucracy, the middleman issues, right? So, for example, if you have a system where the MPP flag bearer, the vice president, says that, okay, now that we have a Ghana card, and a Ghana card has captured every single detail that is required for you to get a passport, then let's move away from that other bureaucracy of people going to stand in a queue and everything, and use the Ghana card as a basis, a source document to get your passport, right? So then it takes away that other element of going to stand in the queue, have to pay somebody to even navigate a queue to be able to get these things. So for me, I think that, I'm digressing a little bit, but I think that if we adopt technology, we institute processes and also analyze the issues properly, right? In terms of, okay, how is it that this is a local assembly, every single year they find themselves at the Public Accounts Committee for the same issues. It's either a human error, an administrative error, or pure incompetence and negligence. And if that happens, then we should also see that these persons are being penalized.